Hey everyone, welcome back to M&M PTE NAATI. This is Manmohit. So guys, this is going to be a very important video for all of you. So please make sure you watch all the way up to the end because I'm going to share the latest updated template for your writing essay, the changes that will happen from 7th of August, how to do an essay, an actual exam question, what content to pick, how to use a structure, how to use a template in order for us to get a full score because the essay is going to be extremely important from 7th of August. So we need to understand how this works. And it is going to be one template for all types of your essays. Doesn't matter what essay question you end up getting in the exam. This will help you to achieve your desired score. This will help you to get a full score. As you can see on the screen right now, I recently gave an official mock test from Pearson's website, the one that is updated with all the new questions and all the new changes. And with that, I have managed to get a 36 in writing. Now 36, if you subtract 10 from it, which is the bare minimum you get in the exam anyway, that means I got 26 marks in my writing essay. So this is how important writing essay is going to be, all the way from 5 marks per essay approximately. Now it is going to be approximately 25-26 marks. So that's a huge jump. Now, just before we start, if you need online coaching for your PT exam, whether it's PT Academic, PT Core, or NAATI Hindi, NAATI Punjabi, or NAATI Gujarati, you can always contact us. The number is there on the screen. Instagram, Facebook, you can message us anywhere. Have a chat with us, talk to us on phone so that we can create a plan for you to make sure you guys can also clear these exams in your very first attempt. Let's get started with this one. For writing essay now, the very first thing is we need to understand the scoring part of it. Like, what is the scoring change and how does a computer check all these things? What are the things that a computer assess for them to give us a full score? So in terms of the scoring, they have not really changed the categories. The categories are still the same. So we have got content, development, structure and coherence, form, general linguistic range, grammar, vocabulary and spellings. All these things are exactly the same. The difference is the scoring part of it. Now it has increased dramatically, and that is why the scores have jumped from approximately 5 marks per essay to now getting approximately 25-26 marks per essay. So that's a huge jump. And all these things are still going to be important. All these things are still going to have some weight, but now the scoring has gone up significantly. So content, as in what sort of keywords, what sort of sentences are we putting in our essay? Are we having relevant content, or are we just putting some generic words in the essay to try to trick a computer and trying to get our marks? So that is not going to work at all. We need to have some relevant content. And like I said, I would be sharing a template with the content that we need to include in it in order for us to get a full score. Then we have development, structure and coherence, which simply stands for the flow of your essay. Going from one sentence to the other, going from one paragraph to the other, summarizing a paragraph, introducing a paragraph, giving some ideas, giving some opinion, giving something for, like in support of the paragraph, giving something against. So there's a logical flow that we have to follow in writing essay for us to get a perfect score. And yes, once you memorize this template, once you follow this structure that we have, it is absolutely going to give you a full score regardless. See, template itself is not going to be enough. It is just a structure for you to fill your content in, but at least the template will help you to stay on track. Like, you're not just jumbling up or shuffling up your ideas, all your sentences and creating a mess out of it, but you're creating a proper organized essay. And this is what development, structure and coherence stands for. Then we have form. Form is what? The word limit. Word limit is simply going to be between 200 to 300 words. So as long as our essay is between this word limit, we are still getting a full score for it. So we need to make sure our essay stays in between. And at the same time, we can't just have our essay over 300 words. Like, there's a misconception that if you type above 300 words, like you give more content to a computer, you get more marks. This is not the case in this exam. You need to strictly stick with the word limit, and that is between this one. Next is general linguistic range. So that simply stands for the ideas that you're going to put in your essay. They need to have some good amount of vocabulary words in it and good relevant keywords in it. That is what this general linguistic range, pretty much simplified, stands for. So your ideas, that negative idea, positive ideas, all those things that you're going to put in your essay, they need to be exactly in, like, directly relevant to what the essay question was asking you for. Like, it can't be essay question is asking you for one thing and your ideas are talking about a completely different thing. Yes, you may have used some fancy vocabulary words in it, but those words, if they have nothing to do with the essay, if they have nothing to do with the ideas, you are going to lose a lot of marks in your general linguistic range. So yes, even your ideas, same thing applies. You have to make sure the vocabulary words that you use in it, they need to be relevant. Otherwise, if you know a fancy word, if you know a difficult, complex word, but if you do not know the meaning of it, but if that word doesn't really relate with the essay, there's no point putting down that word. You may be thinking that you're trying to impress a computer, but unfortunately, that is not going to be the case. So use simple words. Use difficult words only if you know how to apply them and if those words are related to the essay. Otherwise, keep it simple. Then we have grammar. Grammar, like I said earlier, we have to make sure there are no grammatical mistakes in our essay. If we make grammar mistakes, as simple as that, we lose marks in our grammar part. The template, of course, it is going to be grammatically right, but the content that you guys are fitting in the essay, we have to make sure that there are no grammar mistakes. And when we combine our content with the template, it also needs to link together without any grammatical errors. Vocabulary, as the name says, having some good idioms, good clauses, good phrases, good complex words in your essay. See, the template is already going to give you a good amount of vocabulary words, so that's a good start. But if you know some difficult, complex words that you know how to apply and you can make sure by using them you're not making spelling mistakes and you're not making grammar mistakes, absolutely fill those words in. But if you do not know the spelling of that certain word that is going around in your brain, do not bother putting down that word, because if you put down that word and if you spell it incorrectly, the next part, which is spellings, and you're absolutely going to lose marks from your spelling part. So please make sure you take this topic seriously. You make sure there are no spelling mistakes, no grammar mistakes, having good amount of vocabulary words like the template words plus the words if you know the spelling of, or using simple relevant keywords. I'll use the word relevant again and again in the essay because that is what they are targeting. That is what they're looking for. People who in the past used to just type a generic template with like 250 words of a template, 200 words of a template, and having barely 10-20 words of content, like just the single keywords, is not going to cut it anymore. Yes, they are increasing the human intervention, and for obvious reasons that people have been exploiting these kind of things from a long time out there. We never encourage that. We still never are going to encourage that. Yes, content is the king, and now after all these changes, you know why we have been saying all these things from a long time, that yes, content is going to play a crucial role, and yes, you will need to take a human feedback. You need to rely on a feedback from a real human being, a real instructor, not just from a generic software like AI based softwares which are out there, which are not going to give you the accurate scores as compared to what would happen in the actual exam. So you need that. Now, few things for the essay, like the overview part. As we know, even from 7th of August, the scoring is still going to be for writing module only. They're not going to give you marks in any other section, but the scoring has increased dramatically. It used to be approximately 5, now 5 times. It's approximately 25, 26. So that's a huge jump. Word limit, we need to make sure it's between 200 to 300. Yes, template with relevant content. We're still using a structure, but yes, we need to have good amount of content. At least 50% of the content needs to be there. Next is time management. Time management has always been extremely important, considering we are typing a lot of words in only 20 minutes time that is given to us. So yes, we need to make sure we are managing our time properly in the exam, because it doesn't matter how great of an essay have you typed. If you are not able to finish your essay within the given 20 minutes, you're never getting a full score. So we need to practice hard before the exam, practice enough essays, time yourself every single time to make sure that you are able to type your response between 200 to 300 words within the given 20 minutes. And then human feedback is important. Like I said earlier, you just can't rely on the softwares anymore to look at the scores. You need your instructor. Wherever you are taking coaching, ask your instructors, ask your teachers to check your essays personally and give you that individual feedback by going through every sentence, every word, to tell you that what mistakes have you done, any spelling mistakes, any grammar mistakes. Does it sound like a templated response? Like, does it sound like a very generic response? You need to ask your instructor those questions so that you know exactly what kind of mistakes are you doing in your writing essay. Now, let's have a look at the template. I would also be putting down the link for this essay template in the description box below. You can simply click on it and download and memorize it and start using it. But first you need to understand how to apply that. Like how do we fill the content in? What kind of sentences do we need? How do we structure our essay using this structure? Let's have a look. Now there are 4 paragraphs still, and in the exam, considering it's an academic exam, we need to make those 4 paragraphs, starting with the first paragraph, which is introduction. Now, wherever you see the bracket part is where we need to fill in the content. Other than that, it's template. So it says this essay explores both the positive and negative sides of the topic. So in every essay, we are going to give them a positive and a negative idea. If an essay is a problem solution type of an essay, like something, if they have given you a problem and they're giving and they're asking you to give a solution, so you simply change positive and negative to problem and solution, because we're going to give them a negative, which is a problem, and then positive, which is a solution. Topic means essay statement. That means what is that essay all about? So whatever the essay question would be, you need to fill your essay statement in it. Now you can't just copy it down word by word, you need to paraphrase it. You need to rewrite that essay statement in your own words. You can change just few words in the essay statement by using some synonyms, but you can't just have the sentence essay statement as it is. It needs to be paraphrased, worded it again. Now, next sentence, every subject has two sides and understanding both is essential for a complete perspective. It will highlight points like negative idea and positive idea. So whatever the essay question is, the essay statement, we now need to give a negative idea for it, and we now need to give a positive idea for it. Something against that essay topic and something in support of that essay topic. I will also be showing you an essay question and a sample answer after that, which will help you to understand it a lot more better. Then offering a balanced view of the topic. This discussion will also focus on relevant examples and lead to a thoughtful conclusion. So that's your introduction paragraph. Next is first body paragraph. The most concerning and challenging part. So this one is going to be a negative paragraph, because this is where we would be putting in our negative idea, which has become a trend, is the negative idea. So see, there are two places where we are putting the negative idea, but both places are slightly different. In the first place, when we give a negative idea, we don't have to explain it. We just give the main idea. We just give a bit of, let's say, the gist of it. Like, what is that idea going to be about? Just one sentence answer. But here, when you fill in the negative idea again, you're using the same idea, but this time you're explaining it. So you just can't use the same sentence again and again. You need to paraphrase it, yes, and secondly, you have to elaborate it this time. So if you said something, now you need to expand it and explain your idea in a bit more detail. And then next is, for example, research conducted over the past decade shows that example. So now you need to give an example which is supporting that negative idea. That is extremely important, that your example is relevant to the idea that you have given. So if your idea is talking about something, your example can't talk about something completely different. It needs to be related. And again, when I give you the sample answer, I'll be telling you how to create an example and what things you need to keep in mind while creating an example. And then in conclusion, we need to conclude our body one. Remember, it is the conclusion of body one, not the complete essay yet. So all we need to do in the conclusion for body one is, because in the body one paragraph, we talked negative about that essay statement, we need to simply conclude it by summarizing what we just said in the idea and just ending that paragraph on a negative note. We can't just now introduce anything positive or compare it with something different. We simply just conclude it by saying something negative again. So this paragraph is all about giving a negative idea, negative example, supporting it, and then concluding the paragraph by giving a drawback of it. Next, second body paragraph. Now this is where stuff will change, because now we need to give a positive idea, and this paragraph is all about being positive. So on the contrary, which means comparison, the other opposite side, there are strong reasons to believe that a positive approach is a positive idea. So this time again, see, earlier we gave a positive idea in the introduction paragraph, but now we need to explain that positive idea in a lot more detail. What did that idea mean? Giving just one sentence answer in your introduction paragraph, but now explaining it, expanding it. For instance, a survey conducted in recent years presented that example. This time again, your example needs to be positive, but your example needs to support your positive idea. So whatever positive you said in the first sentence, your example needs to support it by giving some numbers, some countries, which I would be discussing in the next slide. And then to conclude, conclusion of body one, that means now we are concluding the second body paragraph, not the complete essay yet. So we have to make sure we don't talk anything negative in this conclusion. We simply summarize this paragraph by giving something positive. And finally, the last paragraph, which is conclusion. From what has been discussed above, it can be concluded that the topic, which is again your essay statement, the same essay statement that you used in your introduction paragraph, Same one from the question, but again, we need to paraphrase it again. So first time you paraphrase it over here in the introduction paragraph, you're again paraphrasing in the last sentence. So you can't use the same essay statement twice, word by word. That would be incorrect. If you need a full score, you need to paraphrase it again. Again, use different set of synonyms if you know it for a certain word. Try to change the sentence, like shuffle words here and there by keeping the grammar right, plus at the same time making sure the sentence still means exactly the same. So, is a debatable topic and the arguments presented have led to divided opinions among experts and the general public. So, this is the template part, and wherever you see the bracket is where we are filling in our content. So, this is just how the template would work, and this is the kind of content that we need to add in it. And you can see like it's approximately 50% of your content, 50% of your essay is going to be purely content, another 50 is going to be your template. So, it needs to be that difference, like it needs to be that much of a mix. Let's have a look at an essay question. And by the way, this was the exact essay question that I got when I did that official mock test. So I'm just using the same one over here to explain you what content did I put in my official mock test to get that full score in my writing essay. So the essay question is, the means of communicating in society today has changed markedly over the last 10 years. In your opinion, what are the positive and negative impacts of this change? So means of communicating in society today has changed drastically, a lot, significantly over the last 10 years. Now, means of communication means the way we communicate with each other. 10 years ago, video calls were not a very common thing. 10 years ago, people used to meet each other face to face or do a phone call, like the audio ones. They used to be common, but not the video calls that we have in today's world. Like that's the first thing that comes to my mind. And in your opinion, what are the positive and negative impacts of this change? So we need to give a negative idea for it. Like what's the drawback of having all those video calls, the different means of communication nowadays, and what are the positives of having those means of communication in today's world? So one negative and one positive. Now let's have a look at the actual essay that I have done with the proper content in it and using the same template. So this is what I have got. And if you see, I've got 288 words in my template over here, in my essay over here. Now, looking at the question, and whatever you see in the yellow over here is my content, and whatever you see in the white is the template part. So if you look at the distribution, it's the content that I've got, it's even more than the amount of template that I have. So more than 50% of that is my content. Now let's have a look. So I've said this essay explores both the positive and negative sides of the, so this is my topic over here, which is the essay statement from the above. So all I did was I took my essay statement, this part, the first one, and I did not rewrite it from scratch, but all I did was I changed certain words with its designated synonyms. Like whatever words I know the synonyms of, I've put that to make to keep my job easy, and also making sure that I'm not rewriting the sentence from scratch, because that will take a lot of time. A lot of thinking is needed for that. So all I did was, this essay explores both the positive and negative sides of the different means of communication in today's world, which has changed drastically over the last decade. So instead of change in society, I've said in today's world. Instead of saying the means of communicating, I said the different means of communication. Instead of saying markedly, I've said drastically. And instead of saying last 10 years, I've said last decade. So these are the kind of changes that I would encourage all of you to do. Still, the sentence sounds different because I have changed so many keywords, but I have not done like a rewritten of the same sentence, because that will take me a lot of time to do it. And I do not have enough time in the exam to do all that. Now, every coin has two sides, and understanding both is essential for a complete perspective. It will highlight points like, so this is my negative idea over here. And for negative, I've used the increase in scams. And see, this is what I mean when I said that you don't have to elaborate your ideas yet. This is what we would be doing in our body one paragraph. For now, all you have to do is just simply give them a quick gist of what the idea is going to be. And then I've given a positive idea, and people having the freedom to talk to anybody, being anywhere in the world. And that's a great positive point for different modern means of communication. So that's my positive idea. And offering a balanced view of the topic, this discussion will also focus on relevant examples and lead to a thoughtful conclusion. Looking at my body one paragraph now, the most concerning and challenging part which has become a trend is, so what I've done is the increase in scams. So this same idea I have elaborated now, explained in a lot more detail, has become a trend is the significant rise in scams due to advancement in technology, and people are pretending to be someone else using fake profiles. Because these video call scams are so common nowadays, so it is easy for people to use a fake profile using AI features, and then they can scam money out of people. And then, for example, research conducted over the past decade shows that. So here what I've done is I have given an example which is supporting my idea, supporting my negative idea. So what I've said is in Australia, so I use the name of a country, scams have increased by 25%, and I've used a number this time. So this is the best way to create an example. Use a country, use a number, and you can create any example out there. All you have to make sure is your example is relevant to your idea. So what I've said is in Australia, scams have increased by 25% because of the advancement in the technology, and people were not able to keep up with it. So that's a great example by giving a country, a number, and supporting my idea. And then in conclusion, remember I said that we are concluding body 1. So we are not supposed to say anything positive over here, just wrapping up our body 1 paragraph. So in conclusion, the means of communication have had a negative impact on society by becoming widely popular and causing a loss of privacy. So all I did was just increase the length of my conclusion because I also want to make sure my word limit is there. But I did not introduce anything positive yet. All I said was that it has a negative impact on society because it has gone very popular and people have lost their privacy because of it. Next, third paragraph is my positive paragraph. So this is where I give my positive idea, a positive example supporting it, and giving a conclusion which wraps up the paragraph. So on the contrary, there are strong reasons to believe that a positive approach is that it has given a lot of freedom to people to talk to anyone while being anywhere in the world, and they can connect with their family members easily. So again, I took the same idea which I gave in my body 1 paragraph, but this time I elaborated it, explained it in a bit more detail. Now my example needs to support it. For instance, a survey conducted in recent years presented that in India, there were about 5 million video calls that were conducted. So this time what I did was I changed the name of the country. First I gave Australia, then I put India, different country. And I also use a different number over here. So these are some things that you need to do to have different, like a variety of content. So in India, there were about 5 million video calls that were conducted. Now see, your examples do not have to be factually correct. Like you don't have to have the exact data. Computer is not going to Google and cross-check your facts. All it needs to be is relevant. All it needs to be is grammatically right and making sure you're not making any spelling mistakes. And then to conclude, again, wrapping up the paragraph saying something positive. So all I'm saying is changes in the communication method have had a positive impact. So I'm just keeping it simple, short, to the point, and just wrapping up my paragraph by saying something positive. From what has been discussed above, it can be concluded that the change in communication methods. So again, I need to use the word topic over here as in my essay statement, but due to my word limit, I can't really have long sentences every single time. Otherwise, my words will go above 300 words. And in fact, that is what exactly happened when I was attempting that official mock test. After typing long sentences, my word limit jumped up to 314 words. And that's a lot of words. We don't need that many. So I had to reduce the length of some of my sentences to keep my word limit between 200 to 300 words. So all I can do now is the change in communication methods, which the means of communicating in society today has changed. I paraphrase that to say the same thing, that the change in communication methods is a debatable topic and the arguments presented have led to divided opinions among experts and the general public. And that wraps up my essay. So this is what we are supposed to do. We need to have at least 50% of content in our essay now. Other 50, if it's template, it's okay, but 50% of your content, 50% of your essay needs to be actual relevant content. Otherwise, if you're putting anything less than that, you're not going to get a full score. It is as simple as that from 7th of August. So guys, this is what I wanted to share in this video. And like I said earlier, human feedback is the most important thing now, after all these changes at least, that you need somebody to tell you if you are doing the topic in the right way, if you have got the right content or not. With us, what we do with all our students is, me and Mohit, every single student who is enrolled with us has their own personal Telegram group with us. For example, if your name is James, the group would be called James PTE. In that group, it would be James, me, and Mohit. Only 3 of us, no other student. And that is that student's personal space, personal group. Over there, that student is given a study plan, a personalized study plan to follow on a daily basis. Like what are they supposed to do every single day? They send us that work on a daily basis personally to us. Nobody is judging them, no other student is looking at their work, and we give them personal feedback, one-on-one feedback, all 7 days a week. And that is the most important thing in a student's journey for this exam, that they get their personal evaluation done every single day. They know their mistakes, what mistakes have they done, what to do, what not to do, how to improve. All these things are discussed with every single student of ours on a personal basis, one-on-one, every single day. And this is where the magic happens, and our students are getting their desired scores every single day, whatever scores they are targeting. If you also want to be part of that elite group, that you get that personal feedback from Mohit and myself, you can again always get in touch with us on either Instagram or Facebook. WhatsApp number, links are in the description. Message us, talk to our admin, have a chat with us on phone, discuss with us so that we can make a personalized plan with yourself depending on your schedule, how we can assist you to clear these exams in your very first go. Guys, wishing you all the luck if you have got your exams coming soon. Stay safe wherever you are, and I will see you all in the very next video.